Hi, my name is Miles Vaughn, and I'm a certified information privacy professional for both the United States and Europe. And today, we're going to talk about how to make sure that your company is GDPR compliant. You feel that you're ready to become GDPR compliant, but not sure how to start. There are several steps you should first take to start down the road towards GDPR compliance. Now, there is no single solution or program that will make every company GDPR compliant. Each company is different. The personal information you collect is different. The services you offer are different. The way you process information and who you process information with will be different from company to company. For these reasons, it is important to review your compliance requirements with an attorney or your chief privacy officer to make sure that you are completely covered. The General Data Protection Regulation, or the GDPR, is a comprehensive privacy law that applies to the data of all citizens of the European Union, or the EU, as well as to all information processed within the EU. The GDPR certainly does not apply to everyone. For more information on whether the GDPR applies to you, please click on the link in the description below. For now, let's assume that you either are required by law or simply want as a business practice to adhere to the rules set forth by the GDPR. Keep in mind, there are other reasons to adhere to the GDPR beyond the threat of fines ranging from 10 million euros or 2% of your worldwide annual revenue on the low end, to 20 million euros or 4% of your worldwide annual revenue on the high end. Because the GDPR is full of, well, good data privacy rules. By adhering to the GDPR, you're showing your customers that you care how their information is treated and processed. Also, U.S. regulations are becoming more focused on consumer privacy. For example, the California Consumer Privacy Act was recently passed in June 2018. Commonly referred to as GDPR Lite, this regulation is certainly not as stringent as the GDPR. However, it represents a growing trend towards emphasizing the importance of data protection rights. Eventually, the United States may have laws that require GDPR-like levels of compliance. Compare this to the auto emission standards California enacted in the 1970s. Those laws only applied to cars in California, much like the CCPA only applies to the data of California citizens. But did the car companies prohibit the sale of their cars in California? No. Those regulations, in effect, led to a nationwide change within the auto industry. This is the type of change we may expect to see within the data privacy industry as well. So, you want to be GDPR compliant. You've looked at the 99 articles, 173 recitals, and just don't know where to start. Well, one of the first things you can do to start right now is to create a privacy policy for your company. A privacy policy is an internal document that describes in detail how your organization manages personally identifiable information, or PII. This document will set the tone for how you treat your customers and your employees' personal information going forward. Keep in mind that this is different from your privacy notice, which we will cover in a separate video, which is specific information that you must provide to your customers or the data subjects. Again, we will cover the basics of a layered privacy notice in a separate video. Think of this privacy policy as an internal audit, and also as a building block. As your company grows and your services evolve, so will your privacy policy. Your privacy policy will be integrated with your privacy notice. But it is important to have a separate document that your employees may reference for any data privacy concerns. To start your privacy policy, first consider scope. Are you a startup with a small yet growing team? Or are you a business unit that belongs to a larger organization or a group of companies? What is the relationship between these groups? How is information shared between them? If you are a smaller company, I would recommend a comprehensive company-wide audit. But if you're a larger organization, what business units, maybe IT or marketing, must be dealt with first? Analyze your risks and take note of which departments routinely deal with PII. Next, determine the people in your organization responsible for data privacy. Just as your board is legally obligated to govern a company, your policy should identify key parties that are responsible for data privacy. You may want to designate a chief privacy officer, someone who can keep the board updated on data protection risks and consistently review your company's data protection standards and procedures. This person should also approve controller processor agreements and any data sharing programs you may have. You may want to identify a chief technology officer who ensures that all of your systems, equipment, and security methods meet the required standards. Your marketing manager should also be singled out, as the GDPR has many marketing-specific guidelines, and the marketing manager may naturally come into contact with much of your customers' PII. Or one person in your company may just wear many hats. This is especially true in smaller companies, where a single employee may have many different roles and responsibilities. What really matters is that there is an effective chain of communication from the person that understands, say, your security capabilities, all the way to someone who can communicate that information to your customers or, potentially, a European regulatory agency. Now, please keep in mind that the GDPR requires a point of contact for data privacy concerns. So while some of these roles will only serve as a point of contact within your company, let's say when an employee identifies a privacy risk, but doesn't know who to contact or what to do, you must also have someone designated to field questions from customers, regulators, or even the media. Now that you've identified the scope of your privacy policy and the key actors within your company, let's move on to reviewing your existing business processes as they relate to the GDPR in the next video, General Data Protection Guidelines.